Meanwhile, the spendthrift wife in West America, namely the United States, has just spent and spent and spent, to the point that in 2005, the net national savings of the United States were effectively zero. You could call this the age of leverage. That's how I think of it. And we're living through its end. The age of leverage saw the United States exploit what Ben Bernanke called the Asian savings glut to go on a massive borrowing binge. And here you see the story. In relation to gross domestic product, all kinds of debt in the United States added together, look particularly at the growth of household debt and financial debt, rose from 150% of GDP back in the 1970s to a peak of 350%, 3.5 times the national output of the United States. Now, we all know spendthrift spouses, but in many ways, the spouse, the wife, if I may be so sexist, in the Chimerican partnership, really did max out on every conceivable kind of debt. Now, there were those people who thought this was just fine. There were all kinds of wonderful rationalizations of this a couple of years ago. Bretton Woods II was one. Stable disequilibrium was a phrase that my friend Mohammed El-Erian used. Luckily, I don't think he used it in his new book, When Markets Collide, because it would be rather embarrassing to claim now that this disequilibrium was stable. But here's how it looks. These are current account balances in relation to world GDP, world output. And on the blue lines below the line, below the axis, tell you that mostly it was the United States that was borrowing. And above the line, you see that China and others, it wasn't just China, of course, the oil exporters were doing it too, were accumulating surpluses that were essentially recycled into the US deficit. So the rest of the world's surpluses financed this enormous American deficit.